Okay, good morning, and I'll call to order the November 1st, 2021 regular meeting of the Haywood County Board of Commissioners. Our first order of business will be our Pledge of Allegiance, and after that I'm going to ask Pastor Josh Frazier to come forward for invocation. So if everyone please stand for the pledge.
Let us pray. Glorious God, you promised to open doors of blessing and abundance for your people. And we ask today that you would work mightily in us today. Come upon us and cause us to have a productive meeting. Lead each one of us so that we can make fruitful contributions at this time. Enable us to think and to strategize in ways that will achieve great success. Purify our thoughts and our motives so that each one of us will enter into this meeting desiring the good for each other here in Haywood County. And we also pray that you would guide us and always satisfy the needs that need to be met during this meeting. We ask that you would strengthen us as we make tough decisions. And I pray that we would be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose water never fails. I pray that this meeting would be fruitful today. And Father, please guide us so that this meeting can be productive. Let us be effective and decisive. In your name we bring these requests. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Josh. Our next order of business is a public comment session. And I would ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. And I have one speaker signed up, Jerry Gardner. Hey, welcome, Jerry.
A little bit more familiar with this process now after last meeting. So my name is Jerry Garner. At our last meeting, I gave you a presentation on the Dogwood Lakes and the homeless community that's located directly across the creek from our location there at Dogwood. I wanted to give you an update on what was going on over there and what's transpired at this point. And really, more than anything, I wanted to thank you and all the commissioners and all the other agencies involved in the county that has taken action over the last 2 weeks and cleared out the majority of what's going on over there. The gunshots have stopped, the lake burning fires, the chainsaws all night, all that stuff has stopped. A lot of that's been cleaned up, and I just can't thank you guys enough for everything that you've already done. It's just amazing how big of a change that's already taken place over there in the last 2 weeks. So thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. And then as it stands now, there are still 3 trailers over there, camper trailers. They still don't have potable water. They still don't have sewage drainage. There's a lot of trash still left over there. And everything transpired last Wednesday. So last Wednesday was the deadline, and by noon on Wednesday, everything was gone except for those 3 trailers. So that's still an environmental problem, just because that waste is still going into Jonathan Creek, the human waste and the human waste products over there, and I just wanted to bring that to the commissioner's attention, that that's still there, and we need to do something to address that. Okay. All right. And again, thank you so very much for everything that you've already done. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming, Jerry. I'll after a public comment, I'll see if we can find out.
I'm sorry.
After public comment, I'll ask some of our staff to see, kind of update us on what's going on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else like to address the board this morning? Public comment? Okay. Seeing no one, I'll close the public comment session. And I did want to call attention to Howard, has a mask today. He lost a bet with Tracy over the weekend, so he's got Georgia on there. Unfortunately, Georgia beat Florida, so, well, or fortunately, I guess for us, Georgia kind of minded fans. But anyway, appreciate you being a good sport this morning and wearing your mask. Okay, our next order of business will be our constituent concerns, and along those lines, could we have Frank? Can you kind of let us know what's going on and what else can be done?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I really appreciate Mr. Garner's kind words about the work that's been done by staff. What we call the Beantown Road encampment, it's across the creek from the Dogwood Lakes subdivision where Mr. Garner lives and his family. We're in a situation where it appears that the vast majority of the loose trash and debris and people are gone from the site. But there remain 3 unpermitted. By unpermitted, we mean they don't have permits for water or sewage disposal. There are 3 camper trailers still on this site in violation of the court's order. And this morning we'll be seeking a show cause order from the Superior Court compelling the owner of the property, Ms. Lucas, to appear before the court and show cause why she should not be held in contempt for the persistent remaining violations of that order. So that as soon as that hearing is held, it's up to the court what the court decides to do about the person, but that's in the discretion of the court. We'll advocate for the complete elimination of these last 3 trailers and the cleanup of the final cleanup of the site. It remains a public health nuisance and hazard, and we'll continue to be involved with it until it's no longer has that condition. Questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you staying on top of that, Frank. Okay, are there other constituent concerns, Brandon? I think you want to start us off?
Yeah. I've had several constituent concerns in the last couple of weeks since I missed the last week, but I've got with Mr. Moorhead taking care of most of those. I do have one I wanted the board to be aware of. I know every year that Evergreen does the Santa Pow, and they're doing that again this year, and I know that in years past, we have took care of the invoice from the fairgrounds, and they have contacted me again about doing the same, so just wanted the board to be aware of that.
Okay with everybody, that's Santa Pow
Yes.
at the fairgrounds, so. You might have an issue with that? Okay.
No, I actually got contacted as well about the same thing. So
Okay.
we usually do that every year.
Okay.
They want to continue. I also had one, I haven't had time to talk to Brian, so I guess put you on the spot. I got a call over the weekend that a fellow was doing some work, some repair work up the river and from the flood, and he said there was a group of people come by and identified themselves as Army Corps engineers and said that they were going to redesign the flood way or the river channel, and I couldn't confirm that. Do you know anything about that?
The only conversations I've had were really the first couple of days afterwards, and the Army Corps was here measuring height. Haven't had any follow-up with anything to do with the river from them, so I'll make a note and follow up and see what I can find out.
Yeah, let me know, because I think it was surrounding the debris, like the gravel fields where it filled up almost level with the roadway and changed the river course, and that's what his understanding was, and I could not confirm that or deny it, so.
Good to know. I'll follow
Get
up
back
with him.
with him.
Jennifer, did you have anything?
No, I have had a few, but everything's been taken care of. A couple of them were old, talked to Tommy about that, and then a couple of them were new, and I talked to Brian about them, so they've been taken care of.
Okay.
Thanks.
You got anything, Kurt?
I don't have anything.
Was that all you had, Brandon? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Our next order of business is agency reports and administrative reports and presentations. We don't have any of those today. I do not have an adjustment, or does anybody have any discussion or adjustment for the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone have any question about those?
I just got one comment about the library exhibit and program policies. I understand that reading over this is going to put a lot more responsibility, I guess, on the library director to approve and discuss any exhibits and displays. And apparently there had not been very much guidance before now, and I guess that's a good thing. We've got something in place to address those things.
Did you want to make any comments on that, Kathy? Any of that? Okay. Kirk, do you have any since you're on that board?
No, Frank, I guess, Frank, you've reviewed these, correct?
Okay. Any other questions on the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. We approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion at all? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, we'll move on to our regular agenda to request approval of a proclamation recognizing the Greater Haywood County Chamber of Commerce's 50th year, and we have David Francis here this morning to talk about that. And we have several representatives from the chamber this morning too. So,
good morning, Commissioners. Hope everybody's well today. Here to celebrate the 50-year history of the Chamber in Haywood County. And I'll read this proclamation if it's all right with you, Mr. Chairman.
okay.
It says, proclamation recognizing Haywood County Chamber of Commerce 50th year. Whereas Haywood County Chamber of Commerce has a rich 50-year history of providing advocacy, leadership, innovation, and economic development for the betterment of Haywood County. And whereas the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce assists business in Haywood County through awards, recognition, education, communication, marketing opportunities, and resources to grow and operate successfully. And whereas the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce promotes and builds valuable relationships and referral networks between local businesses. And whereas the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce helps to develop community leaders who are knowledgeable about the culture, economic history, social, educational, environmental resources of our community through Leadership Haywood. Whereas Haywood County Chamber of Commerce further develops young business talent through professional development, networking, and community service activities of young professionals of Haywood County. And whereas the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce acts as a valuable liaison between local businesses, government officials, and policymakers, and have partnered with the chambers of surrounding communities to strengthen the region's voice at the state level. And whereas the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce will continue to have a positive impact on our community through its focus on responsible economic development, progressive and healthy business climate, responsible government, quality of education, dynamic leadership, and quality of life for Haywood County citizens. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Haywood County Board of Commissioners do hereby call upon all citizens to recognize the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce 50 years of meaningful and invaluable service and honor the organization for its contributions to the betterment of life in Haywood County community. Adopted this first day of November 21.
Okay. Cece, would you like to say anything?
Yeah. On a personal note, I would like to thank the Chamber, their board, for their leadership and that they have provided over the last 4 years for me. But I'd like to particularly thank Cece for everything that she's done. Cece first came to the Chamber in 2004, and then the floods, she worked through the floods there. And then over the last year with the pandemic, and again with the floods that happened this past August, Cece has been there the whole time and has worked tirelessly for the business community here in Haywood County and has done an outstanding job, and she's a great resource and leader for this community. And not only like working with CC, but also really enjoy our friendship that we have as well too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for recognizing the 50 years of existence of the Chamber. I always say it's not about me, it's about the organization and the people that stand behind the organization. And so I am going to allow my chairman of the board, Dr. Michael Coleman, and another board member, Jason Walls with Duke Energy, to say a few words.
Thank you, Cece, and I echo Mr. Francis's comments about how the leadership and the poise that you've shown not just through the the recent flood, but through the pandemic when everything was shutting down. And one of the first things you did was step out and said, what can we do for businesses? What can we do for businesses? The lifeblood of this community is the uniqueness that we have in our local businesses and in our people. And as I stated at our, we had a little 50th anniversary cookout last week, something that's so evident about our Chamber of Commerce, when you pull out the charter, and it was done in October of 1971, it proclaimed, chartered this organization to be. And in many communities, you have a chamber, whether it's in a municipality or whether it's in a county. And everywhere I've ever gone, people always ask, well, what's the benefits of being in the chamber? What's in it for me? Local businesses thinking about membership, they always ask, what's in it for me? Well, I can fundamentally tell you that the Chamber of Commerce, especially here and evident in Haywood County, it's all about its people. It's just a name on a sheet of paper on a charter, but it's all about its people. When you go to talking to the staff and the work that they do, when you talk to the local business owners, and when you talk to the community, you find out it's about the unity and the power and numbers that we have in the people and how we lock arms and join forces together for the betterment of our community and our county. So I'd just like to thank you, commissioners, and everyone in the room, and especially CC, for all the years of hard work and the continued work that we will continue to do for Haywood County into the future to make sure this is a great place for us to be. Thank you.
Good morning, and I'll just echo what Michael said and just take a few minutes, but I'm going to actually give you a quote this morning. It's a quote by Helen Keller. It's one that, it's a person that's not quoted a lot in public, but it's a really powerful one, and it's just simply, alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much. And when you think about the last 18 months and what happened to the businesses across this community, it's the leadership like CC demonstrated, it's the leadership that each of you demonstrated that really made it possible to lift this community up, to help us weather through those multiple storms, both pun intended and pun not intended, that we've experienced. And so through your leadership, your partnership, your friendship, and under CC's guidance, this business community has done great things. We've seen chambers across the state of North Carolina that didn't make it. We've seen businesses who didn't make it. But when we work together, when we stick together, when we show a lot of persistence and a lot of grit, we can do really amazing things. So thank you for this recognition. Thank you to CC, but more importantly, thank you to the board for your continued trust and partnership with the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, CC. CC's joined by, I guess, 4 members of your board. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I appreciate the board, and I'd gone to their celebration of their 50 years there the other night, and it was really good. So, and it was a free event and stuff. So I thought that was nice of them to do that. And yeah, that's what I was going to say. You guys have some great sponsors to do a lot of that a lot of times. So we appreciate that. So anyone else want to make a comment before we take a vote? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. We approve the number 1 of the regular agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's unanimous. Thank you. Our next item is number 2, is the request approval to award a bid to Spartan Fire and Emergency Apparatus in the amount of $261,896 for the purchase of a Dodge Ram 4500 4x4 ambulance with Braun ambulance module and Stryker power load and power cot to be paid from fiscal year 2021-2022 budgeted funds, and approval for county manager to execute all required documentation for said purchase. And we have Travis Donaldson here. Welcome, Travis, our Emergency Management Services Director.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Again, here before you this morning to request approval to award the bid to Spartan Fire and Emergency Apparatus for the purchase of a Dodge ambulance. Right now, this ambulance might make it here about this time next year, just for a heads up. The market is that volatile right now. Prices are increasing, And vendors are saying that in the next 8 months, we might be looking at a 2-year lead time to get trucks here. So,
Okay.
we did receive 2 bids for this ambulance. This was the higher of the 2 bids by $1,400, but it did meet our spec requirements as in the RFP.
Does anybody have any questions for Travis?
The other vehicle, it didn't meet the specs?
There were some exceptions into the design of the ambulance module itself. We had requested, due to a crash that we had over a year ago that ended up being a total loss to an ambulance. It probably shouldn't have been a total loss due to design construction. This particular box is actually built a lot stronger. I'm actually very familiar with the design and the quality of the box. So hopefully we can avoid having total loss accidents just by sliding backwards into a tree.
Okay, and the difference in the 2 bids is approximately $1,400, so it's not that.
$1,410 between the 2.
Did the supplier give you any indication why the backlog is going to be maybe 2 years? Is it part of this chip shortage that I keep reading about and hearing about?
Yeah, it's chip shortage. It's materials. You know, everybody sees on the news all these cargo ships waiting to unload. Production across the globe, all the components that go into them, delays in production. Used to be, I can say that a lead time on an ambulance 5 years ago was 120, 160 days. But I've heard from several vendors that basically don't surplus what you got right now because we don't know when we'll be able to get you something new. So that's,
well, I trust you and the county manager to stay on top of this and not jeopardize our public safety and maybe get ahead of the game a little bit more so than we have been before, knowing that these supply shortages and delays are in place. So I guess that's something everybody has to kind of be aware of, even in your private life. But it is something to, especially when public safety is concerned, I'm sure it's something that you're on top of, and I appreciate it.
it definitely affects everybody. So it's something that we're going to have to figure out how to overcome and get ahead of the best we can.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas, so it's a matter of getting them executed and seeing what we can do. But it is something to be very aware of in any particular mode of business or public safety or government operations.
Yeah, in the times we live in, it pays to be flexible and be able to adjust the game plan. So, thank you, Travis.
How many ambulances do we have on the road?
You have you have 6 ambulances 24 hours a day. You have 2 that work day shifts, so that's Medic 7, Medic 8. Those are working around 7 days a week from 7A to 7P, and then you have a supervisor in a SUV. And then I try to keep in reserve at least 4 spare ambulances to backfill for breakdowns and
Right.
and extra needs. Sometimes we have to actually staff those when we get busier.
Okay. Have we been able to take care of the, the transport, the elderly and everything? Has that been going okay?
Yeah,
Still?
it's going good. Our call volume's definitely up, just in 911 call volume. So obviously, our crews are pretty busy right now, as I've spoke to in the past 6 months, between COVID and all the other factors that are affecting our guys. We're definitely busy, so those guys are still running hard.
Okay. Okay, does anybody have any other comments or questions for Travis? Okay, would one of the commissioners care to make a motion to approve item 2 of the regular agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, you want to oppose? Okay, thank you, Travis. I appreciate you and your staff. I know this has been a hard 2 years. Your job's tough without COVID, so we appreciate it, and the floods.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then the third item of the regular agenda is to request approval of a resolution designating County Manager Bryant Moorhead as the primary agent and Finance Director Christian Owen as the secondary agent for the Hazard Mitigation Program. Okay, Travis.
Good morning again, everybody. This item here is a formality allowing Bryant or Christian to be able to sign the HMPG program applications. These are the applications for folks doing mitigation and buyouts from the flood. This form authorizes Bryant or Christian to be able to sign those applications as the last step before the county sends them to the state and then on to FEMA.
Does anybody have any questions on that?
How many folks do you think are going to take the buyout? Do you have any idea yet?
I can tell you that applications are right at around 20, unless we've had a substantial amount show back up over the weekend or while we weren't there. Some of those being acquisitions, some of those being some mitigation measures, but I do know that the application stack was right around 20 between between Kent and Clyde and the Bethel communities.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. We approve item 3 of the regular agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, that is all of our agenda today. We had a good meeting, quick meeting. So does anybody have any other business before the board? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. We adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you.